Hello, everybody, and welcome to OpenExO Live. I'm Kevin Allen, the Chief Community Officer at OpenExO, and it's really great to be with you. It's evening for me here in Cape Town, South Africa, and evening for Nokuthaba, who is our guest this evening as well. And you can see some people there who are coming up in the next couple of weeks. You'll see that number is a little bit small, and that's because we're going to go on a little break after that. And then if you want to be on OpenExO Live, please do head over to the OpenExO platform and apply for the opportunity to join the OpenExO Live show. It'll be great to have you, so please do go ahead and do that. And before we get Nokuthaba up on screen, I would just remind folks that you can share in the chat. So I see Rodrigo, he's watching from Chile. Welcome, Rodrigo. If you want to share, say hi, or ask any questions, please do share those in the chat on whatever platform you are on. Before we get Nokuthaba up on screen, I did ask some folks to share a little bit about her, and I have two messages here. First one comes from Kelly Rowe, and she just says, Nokuthaba is phenomenal. We completed our OpenExO trainer certification during 2020, and our whole cohort were all completely blown away. Nokuthaba's positive energy, compassion for others, and outlook for the future is contagious. Nokuthaba has this incredible ability to do many amazing things, all at the same time. Nothing is impossible for Nokuthaba. I'm excited to see the Tab at Work community platform launched. Congratulations. And then we have from Mervyn, Nokuthaba is a great person with a hunger to learn, to engage, and to transform. She displays all the right traits to lead in our always volatile, always uncertain world. I have loved the discussions we've had on topics of futurism, industry sector outlook, business growth strategy, and the role of humans in navigating this change. So it's awesome to bring up onto the stage Nokuthaba. How are you doing this evening?
I'm fine, Kevin, and thank you to Mev and Kelly for the kind words.
Absolutely. And so, Nokuthaba, the first thing we always ask of people is just to give us a bit of a background about yourself, and share with us why it is and how you joined the OpenExO community.
Okay. Now I'll start just to tell you briefly about myself. I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I remember from the age of 9, I was always enterprising, selling stuff. So I've always had this mindset of being an entrepreneur. But I've spent the last 20 years in the financial sector. I've been working in the general insurance space in the years that I've mentioned. And I must say it's been a privilege for me to see the transition in terms of how businesses have evolved. I've seen quite a lot of technologies coming in and going. I've seen so many business methodologies that we have implemented. Some worked, some did not work, but it's been such a wonderful journey for me in the financial insurance sector. Awesome. And you asked me how I joined the OpenExO community. It's also very interesting. So in this journey, like I've said, in the corporate space, you get exposed to so many projects. So I was introduced to 10X. And I remember very well in that introduction of 10X, there was an illustration that, businesses have been growing this way, but there's a way you can grow this way exponentially. And I was quite intrigued. I started to look for a book because they told me that there's actually a book that was written about 10X and how companies are growing exponentially. I remember I first found a book, I read it, and I said, I'm not sure if this is the exact book I'm looking for. So I kept on searching until I came across exponential organizations. After I read the book, I then started to follow so many videos online about exponential organizations until I met the team from ExO Works, and they did some presentations to us, and they told us about the second book, and we looked around, and then we realized that, oh, there's actually a community. Then I became the member of the OpenExO community. I'm sure you remember when I first joined, I invited quite a number.
Oh dear, folks, it seems like we have a bit of a technical issue there, and Nokuthaba has frozen. Hopefully, her connection will come back, and we will be able to bring her back onto stage. Hey, Louis, great to see you in Toronto. So this is the joys of running something live. You don't get a second chance at doing things, and so it was really actually quite interesting what Nokuthaba was just saying around the whole idea of, you know, being able to have seen in the world like such change happening within business from a technology standpoint. You know, if you are a sort of Gen Z person, you've only known technology, perhaps. You like the world has always had technology, and but if you are perhaps a Gen X or millennial, older millennial, I guess, you've really been able to see such a transition in the world in terms of technology, right? From before things, you know, were even, you know, computerized, right through to today. And you know, the one thing that we you know, often speak about, and Nokuthaba was speaking about the second book as she cut off, unfortunately. And that second book is, of course, called Exponential Transformation, and it covers a 10-week process that you can follow in order to transform your organization. And the way we like to look at exponential transformation is that it is different from digital transformation in that you know, digital transformation looks at digitizing what you are currently doing a lot of the time, and exponential transformation takes things a completely step forward, saying what is the job to be done and what exponential attributes or exponential technologies could you leverage in order to make that you know, make that leap, make that change, make that exponential transformation. And I really like to use an example that comes from my days working in the manufacturing sector. And we used to, in each department, we used to have to order our consumables, right? So we would order, you know, hairnets and shoe covers and things like that, cleaning materials. And we used to have a triplicate order book, right? So we'd have an order book that you would fill out in triplicate. And that was then digitized, right? And that digitization is digital transformation, but exponential transformation may have been looking at a completely new system, perhaps using something like machine learning or algorithms. And it looks like we have Nokuthaba back. Nokuthaba, how are you doing? Nokuthaba, can you, it doesn't seem like you can hear me, unfortunately. There.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
My internet had dropped.
No, perfect. So I was just telling a story about exponential transformation. So you said you found the book Exponential Transformation, and that's how you found the community, right? And so in terms of the community, like, what has your experience sort of been to date? Unfortunately, Nokuthaba, it's your connection is not good today. Perhaps if you turned off your camera, we might be able to get some audio. But unfortunately, we cannot hear a single thing you're saying.
Can you hear me now?
We can, yes. But let's see.
Okay, so can I take it up from where I'd left?
Yeah.
Yes, I think I'd been talking about how I then came to join the OpenExO. Yes, so eventually I got to join the community, and there was a session on Hopin that I managed to organize last year in April, and started to relate with quite a number of members, and I began to learn quite a lot from different people in different cohorts that I participated in.
Perfect. And so, what would you say the experience with the community has been like? Obviously, you get to interact with people from all over the world, but how has the experience been?
I must say it's been wonderful because, especially if you're coming from a very linear, local background in terms of understanding of business and understanding of technology, it exposed me to how different countries, how different sectors are using different forms of accelerating technologies. I also did the programs within the community. I did my certifications for consulting, for ExO Sprint Coach, as well as for trainer. So during that, as I participated and as I conversed and became part of a number of assignments, I then realized that we talk a lot about the fourth industrial revolution, but we are probably mainly looking at one quadrant, which is incremental technology. So we speak a lot, we are transforming, we're digitizing, we're going through digitalization. But when we look at it, we're really looking at the existing technology that we have versus the customers that we currently have, the markets that we currently have. So I then learned that we now need to shift and move to more of disruptive technology, disruptive innovation, as well as radical innovation. So what I learned and what I observed quite a number of members doing was really where they are constantly looking through the window as to who's going to disrupt them in their different sectors, as well as thinking about how do we radically innovate and make a difference. So for me, it was an eye-opener to say right now is the right time for companies that are talking about transformation, that are talking about investment in technology. It's the right time for the shift to happen. Because remember, if you're very linear and you are probably operating from a legacy a background, what then tends to happen is you may look for a technology that is not accelerating. You may find another company or another consultant who's probably also very linear like you are, and whatever you get may not give you 10x. Whatever you get may not give you any exponential innovation or any exponential growth at all.
No, absolutely, Nokuthaba. The story I was telling when you cut off was very much around that digital transformation where people are just digitizing a process, a system that is linear versus an exponential transformation, which says, what is the outcome we want? And let's think about this radically differently. And that is sort of the exponential thinking we get within the community, which is really amazing. And now, you've taken this and you've looked at launching a platform called Tab at Work. Can you explain a little bit about that? What it is, what you're looking to do?
Okay, so I'm excited about Tab at Work, and when I was doing the certification, I think out of all the attributes, community and crowd spoke to me more than the rest of the attributes, mainly because it became an opportunity for me to elaborate more, to talk more about exponential growth. So Tab at Work is in two forms. So we've created an ecosystem, if I may put it that way, where I've managed to get on board a group of very young people, because my transformative purpose, my personal massive transformative purpose is really to impact the young generation, is really to impact the young leaders that are emerging right now. So I've managed to put a platform. One, I'm leveraging on assets I didn't need to build, which is one thing that I've learned from the community, that don't spend a lot of time building, because it may take you 6 months and it may not be accelerating. So I identified a platform where I can bring people together. So at the ecosystem, we've got almost all sectors. We are trying to address all the 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. So if you're talking climate action, if you're talking gender equality, if you're talking innovation and infrastructure, you catered for in the community. So what we have right now is courses on customer. We've got courses on technology. I've got my consulting and my Awake sort of programs also running within the platform. And what we intend to do is to try and introduce the community to a different number of people. So within that community, I have people who run their own groups, who bring in their own community within Tab at Work. That's why I keep referring to it as an ecosystem. And the second phase of that is we're going to bring technology, because what I believe in is it doesn't matter how small or how big you are as a business, you may still be linear. So we're trying to introduce various technologies that can be implemented without forgetting everyone in terms of the small to medium-sized businesses. If you're baking a cake, how do we get you to get QR codes so that people can give you feedback as you deliver the cake? If you're making marmalade jam, how do we get you to get customers to give you feedback on the community? If you are doing sculptures and you want to sell overseas, how do we get you to get a payment gateway? How do we get you, because some people don't even have email addresses, how do we get people to get email addresses, get them payment gateways, and get their products to go globally, to get to markets that they may not access if they were not using any form of technology? Then the second part of Tab at Work is we are community builders. We are replicating what Tab at Work is for smaller businesses or even big businesses. This cohort that we've come up with, they have the capability to really put together a community, manage a community, get a community on social media, get a community running within that platform, and be able to monetize it. Because at the end of the day, we want everyone to be able to monetize. And we're getting a lot of data because the platform that we're using has got a lot of integrations, a lot of algorithms. So there's a lot of data that we're getting. So the second set of Tab at Work is really us as the community going out there to help build other communities, help transform pipeline businesses to get onto platforms. So basically that's what Tab at Work is all about.
Okay, and obviously at the beginning, I don't think I mentioned you're in Gaborone in Botswana. So is Tab at Work you starting with Botswana, and what are your aspirations there?
Okay, interestingly, we started with South Africa and Zimbabwe. So most of the guys who are running their different groups are actually in South Africa and in Zimbabwe. Most of the members are also in South Africa, Zimbabwe. But the idea is to get tepid work to go all the way to Africa. We've got the French connections, the guys from the Francophone countries as well. We have them on board. And interestingly, from the community members that I'm very close to who are in Philippines, they've also come on board and they'll be running certain courses within the platform. Once we get a lot of individuals who would want to know more about tepid work, we're going to collaborate with different members of the community. But the whole idea is to get tepid work all across Africa, is to transform the digital space across Africa, to get young people to put their products. There's a marketplace within tepid work. There's a section for jobs, for gigs, for freelancers. So the all attributes that we learn from the OpenExO, like staff on demand, we already have subsections of individuals that we know that there will be staff on demand. We are also teaching them, how do you get your customers engaged? How do you get them coming to see your brand every day? How do you get them to refer? How do you use interfaces? So it's really a global business right now, but starting Africa, Asia, and then it's going to be all over.
Awesome, Nokuthaba. Yeah, and unfortunately, Jimbo from the Philippines, I really wanted him to share a testimonial for you, and he ran out of time because I know that you're doing some work with folks there, and it's actually really amazing how they've grown the community there. But when you say what you're speaking about is something I'm super passionate about, right? I mean, I believe that everyone has so much potential, and being from Africa, from South Africa, and traveled a little bit on the continent, and need to travel more as well. But I just think there's so much potential and opportunities. So and understanding, having an exponential mindset and an abundance mindset is something that is so important, right? So how are you making sure that sort of mindset is there for the people, and they embrace sort of the exponential thinking with tepid work?
Yeah. Okay, so the conversation is really around the scarcity model that we were brought up in. And we sometimes do not understand why we confine ourselves in spaces where there's lack. As an example, when you look at how we think of technology, I remember when I started working 19 years ago, emails in our side of the world were really coming in. So you find that we confined ourselves so much to emails, I'm just using an example. But now you find that there are social technologies that have come on board. They're there. I'm sure each and every company has the social technologies. And it's one attribute that can help companies scale. But you find that we shy away. Why? Mainly because we've been wired in a certain way of thinking, and we've been wired in a certain way that this is how things have been done. As an example, if you look at the older generation, you find the baby boomers, they want the millennials to behave the same way they behaved. They want the workplace to really be like the same way when they joined. So we limit ourselves because right now we need to be operating in abundance models, especially now with the young people and the way they reason and the way they want things done. So we tend to really not think exponentially or not to be in the abundance mind frame, mainly because of how we've been modeled, our education system, our current setups where we work. It's really still for me, it's still more or less similar to the way it was back in 2002 when I started working.
Absolutely. Now, Louis on YouTube's asked two things. The first thing he's asking, is it similar to the way Shopify works? But then he's also asking, are you connected with the African Digital Asset Foundation?
I think platforms work more or less the same way. It has some attributes of Shopify only when you get to the marketplace. But in the marketplace, it's more of an individual saying, this is what I am selling. But let's say you are in a group, you can get to a group. If you want to monetize the group and want people to pay to be part of your group, there's that a facility. If you want people to pay for your courses within the community, you are able to charge for the courses that you bring. And in the marketplace, if you are able to sell, we can provide that as well.
Awesome. And so as we sort of end off this conversation, what is it that you want to sort of leave people with, right? What should people be thinking about?
People should be thinking about the shift, that it's no longer this business as it was 5 years ago. Doesn't matter how small you are. You need to start to understand that there is opportunities for growth in the digital space, and you need to start to learn that there's a lot of ways in which you can connect and interact with people. And communities is one space that I personally believe is a platform or is an opportunity for people to come together and start to collaborate and enrich each other. And be able to monetize and be able to learn and be able to grow in terms of the knowledge that they have and in terms of even financially. Communities, for me, are the next big thing, especially for people that are listening to me right now from the African side. Let's get into the platforms. Let's use technology to scale our businesses. Let's move away from the manual or the mundane kind of businesses that we've been operating and shift to the digital space.
Absolutely, Nokuthaba. And I couldn't agree with you more that it's not something that only large businesses can do. There are so many tools that are available that are very affordable because of technological advancement. So don't say, I'm a small bakery, therefore I can't do this. Actually, you can. There's many attributes that you can actually look at implementing. So really excited to see how this goes. Looking forward to feedback in the coming weeks, months, and really looking forward to it. And you have a fantastic evening there in Gaborone.
And thank you for having me on the live show today.
It's more than a pleasure. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was Nokuthaba Mtunzie. She was calling in from Gaborone, Botswana. Really great to have her on the show. Do go check out what she's doing. And before we leave today, I did want to just end the show with a quick video from Salim about our upcoming ExO Awards, which are happening next week. So do join us for that too.
Hi there, I'm Salim Ismail. It's been almost 7 years since we published Exponential Organizations, the global best-selling book. Ray Kurzweil, the Director of Engineering at Google, said that exponential organizations should be required reading for anyone interested in the ways that exponential technologies are reinventing best practices in business. But not just business now, but government, nonprofits, impact projects, pretty much any organization in the world. Now in 2021, we're hosting the inaugural Exponential Transformation Awards. And I'm really excited to tell you a little bit more about this. We have over 50 applicants in 6 exciting categories for you to learn about that are showcasing some incredible experience, creativity, inspiration, and a lot of very hard work. Share the event with the friends and colleagues And please consider registering for our awards event at the end of July. Tickets are free. There'll be a fantastic opportunity to learn from the trials, successes, experiences that the OpenExO community has accumulated at the forefront of exponential transformation and business innovation. We're here to transform the future of society, and we're building a global ecosystem focused on just that. So please do come join us.